training that we do that could prepare leaders like this. Leading a platoon, an infantry platoon in combat, and he'll take those lessons with him to that top spot in the Pentagon. And when these troops are called back into harm's way, without a doubt, they'll be trained, they'll be ready, they'll be well led. So, sorry for dragging
Well,
on
I appreciate that very
I
much.
wanted to get that in there.
And Cliff, I was going to ask you the question. I was going to ask both of you, and Eric just did answer it. But what about your experience with him in your mind? You can share with us, Cliff, qualifies him for a new position, that of Secretary of Defense. It's interesting to hear you guys' story, and of course, you guys know who I am, and I've been honest with my audience about my own personal bias. But I do think it's a fair question when people say, just because you're a great soldier, you're a great leader of men at the ground level, to ask the question, how does that qualify you to lead the entire thing, the Pentagon? And I would love to hear from you, Cliff, just like what Eric just told us, is like, what is it about your experience with him qualifies him for Secretary of Defense?
Well, I mean, to leap off where the first arm was talking, it's like he said, the groundwork has been done. The foundation has been put in place by him cutting his teeth at the bottom level. I mean, and maybe that's an easy answer to just skate on, but that's like the most important. Most people get put into these positions. Most of these people, even generals, are just plopped and put where they want to be put so they could make the next rank. He wasn't that person. He earned everything he got. I've been around a lot of leadership, state level in the military. I recognize when somebody's doing something because they know it's the right thing. And I know when a guy is preaching to me to be the good neighbor, or the guy is preaching to me, don't be hard on your guys, or, understand them. He gets it. And that's probably the most important thing to understand when you take it to the top. Yeah, there are going to be some challenges at the top, I'm sure, but your groundwork is what's most important. There's plenty of leaders in this country who get installed and they really are not doing that work. They're having their advisors do it, but I don't see that with Pete. I know Pete is going to have his thumb on the pulse, and he's going to be making sure it's done right.
Right.
It's just like I said, his leadership. He understands being a leader. He understands when to be a servant leader or when to be an authoritarian. He understands to take the intel that's coming from his, at that time sergeants, but his subordinates, take the intel and actually formulate a plan, not go to what the last guy did or figure out what the record book says. Let's figure out how to actually make a change and make it work. And it's easy to say what my experience was. I've known him for years after. We still talk often. And all he ever does is represent being the better person, finding the answer and doing the right thing. I don't see how that isn't what's qualifying him for that role.